The Porsche 911 lineup is easily one of the most complicated and diverse lineup of cars there is. There's the 901, 930, 964, 993, 996, 997, 991, 992. And then there's the Carrera, Carrera S, Carrera 4, Carrera 4S, the GTS, Turbo, the GT3, the GT3 RS, and the list goes on. And frankly, enthusiasts like myself adore them. But people tend to frown upon one generation, which is the 996. What we have here is the 996. This is the GT3, and this is where the GT3 name came from. But because it is a GT3, most people would say, yes, I would love to own one of those. But if you ask the same person whether they want a Carrera Cabriolet, most likely they'll say, ew. The double standards are frankly absurd, but to be honest, I'd have the GT3 as well. But who wouldn't want a GT3 anyways? We're here to talk about why the 996 is the most controversial and the most hated 911 in the whole 911 family. See, pre-996 generations like the original 911 to the 993 were air-cooled, meaning there were no radiators and no additional coolant hoses, making everything simple. But those cars have the iconic air-cooled clatter which these newer gens don't have. See, not having a radiator with water generates a lot of heat, and in order for the engine to run at higher power, there will be a lot of heat. That, including the high temp weather in our country, makes the air-cooled 911s not an ideal car to drive on a daily basis, especially if you drove something like a turbo. So fine, Porsche needed to do that, and people adore the 997, the 991 and the 992, but why is the 996 still hated? See, back in the late 90s, Porsche was bleeding cash and they needed a profitable car. So during the development of the 996, they made a car called the Boxster. But that wasn't the biggest issue. The Boxster was an entry-level sports car. What the biggest issue was is that Porsche took the front half of the Boxster and put everything onto the 911, which then makes the 911 look like a Boxster. See, this is the most controversial part of the 996. Those headlights came from a Boxster, the entry-level sports car which annoyed a lot of 911 enthusiasts. People used to call them the fried egg headlamps because on the US spec cars, the lower half was in amber. But I actually like the headlamps because these headlamps remind me of the GT1 race car back in Le Mans. See, these headlamps give the 996 a bit more flair in my opinion because to most non-car people, most 911s look like. The 996 is currently the cheapest 911 that you can get, unless you're looking for a turbo and a GT variant, which still sells for a pretty penny. But that's because the GT variant cars came with the iconic 3.6-litre Mazda engines, and these only come with a 3.4, and the later variants came with a 3.6. But these were the M96 engines, which had the IMS bearing issues that you may have heard of. See, this problem may not have been on most 996s, but the internet may have made you believe that it was riddled with issues. Only a handful of cars actually had the issue. So will the 996 go up in value? Potentially. Is the 996 a future classic? Well, the GT3 is. Now, would I buy one? Sure, I wouldn't even hesitate.